There are a lot of action sports cameras out on the market, and the segment for the most part hasn't evolved. It's been around for quite some time. Today, I can quite comfortably say that's no longer the case. This is the Insta360 GO 3, and I'm impressed in ways that you probably wouldn't have expected, because they actually surprised me as well. This camera is perfect for those who want to capture their adventures, their vlogs, water-based sports, and even gaming, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later in this video. And some unique and creative ways, because it's designed to kind of be the camera that does it all. And a jack of all trades isn't always the best product, but I'm impressed. The Insta360 GO 3 is a tiny camera with an f-stop of 2.2 that went all out. It's small enough to fit in your pocket. It's tiny, check this thing out, but it's powerful enough to capture up to 2.7K 30 FPS footage. All that in a few form factors, because it's like if an action camera was Optimus Prime or Wall-E. Firstly, you've got this flip out screen at the back, which makes it great for vlogging because you can actually see yourself on the screen. Like, hold it up like this. But it can also do this. Now you've got a tiny little action camera that you can place anywhere, even in tighter spaces. It's magnetized at the back, which allows for some interesting angles. Plus, you can still use the device's viewfinder over here to actually see what you're filming with this camera, which is mind-blowing. It also acts as a remote control, so you're able to start and stop recording, for example, if you're stationed a little further away from where the camera is at, which is great if you are helping somebody else film their surfing, or if you are filming a prank video or something. Like I said, it can get up to 2.7K 30 FPS, but in free-frame video mode, you can capture up to 1440p 50 frames a second. It's got a 1440p 30 FPS time shift mode and a 1080p 120 FPS for super slow-mo shots. The Insta360 GO, for all intents and purposes, is an action camera. And if you look at it at the surface, just off the shelf and holding it, it looks like any bunch of other action cameras on the market, and it performs similarly. But the action pod, the body, this body over here, when I take this, remove it, this is the action pod. The body that the Insta360 GO 3 camera is housed in is only water resistant, not IPX8 waterproof, unlike the removable camera, and it can go to a depth of 5 meters. It's pretty durable, so you can place it anywhere you want to get those action shots, whether it's on the side of a car, for instance, or on a selfie stick, or anywhere else for that matter. And it's got a total of 170 minutes of purported battery life. The Action Pod has a brilliant flip-up viewfinder, as I mentioned earlier, which is great for vlogging or just checking the angle of your shot, depending where you've mounted it. And when the camera is removed from the pod, you're looking at only 45 minutes of battery life, but it's still remarkable given that it's got this tiny footprint.
This video is sponsored by 180by2.co.za, the perfect online shop in South Africa to pick up your Insta360 gear. If you like the camera and want to pick one up for yourself while watching this video, use the offer code GrantHeinz10 on checkout to get 10% off the GO 3. I'll include a link in the description and pin a comment for easy access. Okay, back to the review.
On the storage perspective, there's two SKUs. There's a 64 gig and 128 gig with internal memory, hard drive space that's built into it. But there's no way that I can see to expand this with an SD card, which kind of sucks. Even if it was using the excuse that the SD card write speed isn't guaranteed, we need to have our own write speed and hard drives here, maybe they could have used that 64 gigs and 128 gigs as a buffer and write internally to that mini SD card, because then you could just increase the space. But it means that if you're on a shoot, you have to film till capacity and then dump that footage. For a lot of people, using action sports cameras is not a problem unless you, I don't know, are filming like Top Gear and you need to film for extended periods of time in a car and film some drivers. It just would have been nice to have that potential added to it. And if you don't like this particular white version, they also have a version of this available in black that's might be far more your style. I like the white one because it's easier to find if you lose it. You know, action cameras often, fall off things, and not that to say that this will, but they get used in ways that other cameras don't. And if this is more findable, discoverable, it's more easily visible. You'll probably find it much easier. Having all these things just really helps the whole idea that it's the ethos of it's the all-in-one device. The removable camera weighs a total of 35 grams, and the action pod weighs in at 96 grams and has its own extremely secure, low-profile magnetic mount system. The drawback here is that it won't connect natively. There's no there's quarter-inch jack over here to any of your existing tripods or camera mounting systems that you already have. Without this, the proprietary quarter-inch mount that you've got. So here it is over here. Thankfully, they actually include this in the box when you buy it, along with some other really exciting accessories which make this really useful. Along with the camera and the action pod in the box, you'll get a screw-on ND filter over here that screws onto the front of the camera, which I keep on all the time just to keep the actual lens here protected, because at least I can replace these. They actually do have replacements on their website. And a charging cable, USB-C charging cable. It's got a quarter-inch mounting ball head, the one that I mentioned a little bit earlier, that fits both the Go 3 and the action pod. It's really cool that they've used the same mounting system for both form factors. It's also got a magnetic pendant that you can hang around under your shirt and stick the Go 3 on for like a POV or an FPS camera angle. And there's also a sticky mount that you can screw the quarter-inch mount onto. It's this one over here, and you can kind of stick this anywhere else. There's also a rubber prop stopper, and I'm not 100% sure what that does. I think that's to like get a different angle on the ground if you want it, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. And it's got a hat mount clip that fits onto a peak cap, for instance, but can also be folded to accommodate a headband, which is great if you're doing unboxing videos, or you also want like a higher POV shot other than a pendant, or potentially a pet collar. The box is full of accessories which make the Insta360 GO 3 instantly useful in so many scenarios, and that's not a pun. That pun is, well, that pun was intended. It is a pun, but that pun was intended. There is just so much more value for money than I was expecting inside the box. And it's refreshing. Actually, many companies upsell the accessories, especially in the action sports category, which sucks. And ostensibly that locks these features behind the accessory paywall because they end up costing way more than the actual core item. Quite honestly, the Insta360 GO 3 beats pretty much every other action sports camera in physical value, like what's inside the box. But where the real battlefield is in the software. The software features are packed and not too daunting to use. The UI on the actual camera is actually pretty straightforward to understand and easy to get to grips with. Everything is easy to access from this screen, this touch screen, and that's imperative for a camera that exists to snap footage quickly or photos quickly, get some outdoor footage, or just impulsive shooting. There's a lot of Insta360 magic that you've probably seen in other cameras of theirs that makes their cameras so practical. There's a mode called 360-degree horizon lock that uses the horizon to keep the footage straight. There's something called FlowState Stabilization that does a pretty neat job of stabilizing your footage, something they've clearly put a lot of work into, being an action camera as the primary use case, of course. And there's some great AI editing software that stitches the whole thing together so you don't spend your holiday, if you're recording footage, editing footage once you've shot it. You can enjoy your holiday, which is nice. It supports pre-recording, which means that it's got a built-in recording buffer that's constantly capturing. So as you press the record button, you've actually started a couple of moments earlier so that you don't miss a particular moment that's happened. There are 3 built-in color profiles: standard, vivid, and flat. All depend on your workflow and your taste in footage at the end of the day. Vivid if you want something that is going to stand out and if you want to edit that immediately straight out the box. Flat if you want to grade it in editing software, and standard for all you normies who just want like a standard flat color profile. There's a vlog mode, which they consider to have the best settings for vlogging. I use this most of the time because that's generally how I used the Insta360 GO 3. One of the standout uses for me that not a lot of people have been speaking about is that it can also be used directly as a webcam. I always preach about how cameras and creative gear need to be as useful as possible. And buying a piece of gear that can do a lot of things well can actually save you money. So when I discovered this feature, this was the moment for me that I knew that this was an incredible device. It could probably replace 90% of your camera gear that you currently have, depending on the uses that you have, and it's just one device. And I think that's exactly what they're going for with this. There are so many other tiny considerations that you uncover as you use this device, like the fact that it supports voice control, which is great for starting to record while you're doing an action sport, for instance, and your hands are preoccupied, or you're recording in the kitchen, POV, and your hands are full of, I don't know, batter. Let's just check out the phone app quick.
So this is the app. You can obviously download the footage. So we've downloaded some stuff already. It's got the device saved. And these are videos that are already on the device, stuff that we've already recorded. And you can dump them onto your phone, which is cool. So you can edit them in CapCut or whatever, but you can also edit them in their own way. So you can create a video with the footage, or you can like auto edit. So I can go bang, 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 or whatever. These are just little clips that we've had. And then video is going to analyze the scene and then auto edit it, which is great if you're like on holiday and you've just got some really cool shots that you've done that you don't really want to spend any time editing. It even adds transitions and effects. You can choose the length. Let's go 16 seconds or whatever. Adds its own music. That's so cool. And you can change the aspect ratio. So if you want a 9:16 or a 16:9, depending on what social media you're sending it to, it's very cool. A vlog mode, we can choose like a vlog treatment, a trip to remember. And that was all done in the app without us having to manually edit it. And of course, you can manually edit it if you want to use it in Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. But for a lot of people, this is going to be a very easy way to get content out as fast as possible, especially with family videos, dogs, kids, that kind of thing, and just send it to people.
So, my overall thoughts. I think the Insta360 GO 3 was an approach to do the jack of all trades and do it well. And for the most part, I do think they hit this. There are going to be a lot of people, you know, they don't like that f2.2. I think an f-stop of 2.2 on a small device like this is wild. And having a really wild field of view, something that's really common in action cameras, means that you are guaranteed to get the shot if you're capturing something, and it's gonna look good. You can use this in so many different like use cases, from live streaming video games, if you are using this as a webcam, or putting the little camera thing somewhere else on a magnet and just capturing footage that you probably would not have captured with traditional gear. And I think they nailed this. This is, for me, probably their best product. They have the actual Insta360s, which capture all around, and I think those are for particular use cases, but something that does pretty much everything other than that is kind of unique. And the fact that they have considered all these little ways to use the camera means that they actually use this kind of gear in everyday scenarios and makes it way more useful. I would have liked to see that the Action Pod was fully waterproof. That would just be great. It might be confusing for a lot of people that, you know, this is waterproof and this isn't waterproof. This is just water resistant. And I'm sure a lot of these are being sent back because people didn't read the manual or watch a review like this. But at the end of the day, I'm really, really impressed. This is a remarkable piece of hardware. And I just want to congratulate Insta360 for bringing this out. In South Africa currently, from a pricing structure, these are extremely affordable as a camera goes. The 64 gig model, which I've got over here, is 10,695 Rand at the time of making this video. And the 128 gig is 11,599 Rand, which is like 1,000 Rand more for double the hard drive space. It's very hard not to recommend this guy. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you found it helpful, please hit that like button. I'll include a link to purchase in the description or pinned comment, so you can find that really easily, and I'll see you in the next video.